Do LinkedIn polls right, and you can engage your audience, do market research, show yourself as an industry expert, and even get new leads. Or do LinkedIn polls wrong, and you've wasted your time. So I'm not only going to show you what to click on to create a poll, I'm also going to walk you through the polling strategies that the pros use so you get the best results and grow your brand on LinkedIn. For this first strategy, think of LinkedIn polls as a road trip. You've packed your bags, your kids are in the back seat, and you're ready for the vacation of a lifetime. But then you spend the next week driving around aimlessly because you never decided where you wanted to go. And your kids keep asking, "Are we there yet?" And you're like, "I don't know." It's the same thing with LinkedIn polls. You don't just want to do a poll to do a poll just because it sounds like a good idea. Aimless polls rarely hit any target. So remember how a minute ago I showed you these amazing benefits of doing polls? Pick one of these benefits as your most important goal so you can have laser focus. And now we can move on to the next strategy. Back to our road trip this time, you know where you're going. It's Orlando, Florida. And you want to get there as quickly as you can by car because the kids will go nuts too long in the back seat. So do you take side streets with traffic lights all the way down, or do you take the highway? Clearly, in this case, it's the highway. And it's the same thing with LinkedIn polls. You need to know your exact route to reach your goal. So let's tackle each goal one by one. If your main goal is engagement, there's a lot to talk about here. Yes, polls are naturally engaging. People love sharing their 2 cents with a click of a button without having to actually type an actual comment. And the bonus is when they answer the poll, they get to see what the general results are and how they fit into all of that. But to get the most engagement, the first thing we have to do is make sure more people see the poll in the first place. And that starts by picking the right topic. LinkedIn is way more likely to deliver any kind of post in more news feeds when the topic of that post matches the other content that you put out there on LinkedIn, plus what's on your LinkedIn profile. So this all means that your poll will be seen by more people if you stick with your niche. So I know it's super tempting to do a lighthearted poll like, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? Chocolate, vanilla, Ben & Jerry's PB and cookies? Clearly the answer is Ben & Jerry's PB and cookies, but that's not the point. Fewer people are going to see that post unless you're in the ice cream business. So if you're a digital marketer, a good question might be, what's the most underrated digital marketing strategy? If you're an HR consultant, you could ask, how do you keep your mental health in check at work? If you're a recruiter, how long does it take for you to find a job? But did you know you don't have to rely completely on the LinkedIn newsfeed to get more people to see your poll? A little later in this video, I'm going to show you also how you can get your poll to your LinkedIn groups and also how to direct people by email and also other social media back to your poll on LinkedIn. Okay, so now let's say that someone sees the poll. How do we boost our chances that they actually vote? I'm gonna go over the best tactics now, and then very soon I'm gonna show you how it all comes together. First, in the caption above the poll, explain why you're doing the poll. Some people will vote in the poll just to help you. People can be that nice. You can even use leading statements like, I'm curious, or I'd love to know, or I'm trying to see, or I'm doing research. And make sure this key information is in the first 2 to 3 lines of your caption so it doesn't get cut off by ... see more. Also in the caption, include a call to action that flat out asks people to vote. Sometimes you just have to do that. You can also use industry hashtags to help more of the right people see your poll. But with all of that, keep your caption short and sweet. You don't want people buried in this super long caption that they're reading it, and they completely forget there's a poll underneath, because ultimately you just want them to answer the poll. Now let's go to the poll's question, and that should also be concise, and there's a 140 character limit for questions anyway. Your question should also be super clear, so stay away from technical jargon or anything else that might confuse people. If people have to work to figure out what you're asking, they're just going to skip that poll and just move on to the next post in the newsfeed. Sorry, but that's just how the world works. Now let's look at the answer options. They also need to be clear and concise, and the answers have a 30 character limit anyway. But try to squeeze emojis into the answers if you can, if it fits with your brand, because that will make your poll pop more in the newsfeed. Your poll will also stand out in the newsfeed if it takes up more vertical space, and the way you do that is by having more answer options. LinkedIn gives you a maximum of 4 answer options that you can use, so I recommend using 3, if not the maximum 4. And if you want to encourage comments with your poll, have 3 unique answer options, and then the 4th option says other or let me know with an arrow or a hand pointing down, and that will encourage people to supply their own answers. And always respond to comments in the poll because it shows people that you care and they'll be more likely to participate in future polls. It also makes the LinkedIn algorithm happy. And by the way, I have a whole detailed video about all you need to do to make the LinkedIn algorithm love you, and I'll include a link at the end of the video, so stay tuned. And if you want even more engagement, keep your polls just a small part of your total content mix. Let's say in general, you post 3 times a week. Maybe you want to make a poll about once a month. If your audience sees polls too often from you, those polls aren't going to feel special anymore and your audience is just going to get tired of them. It's just like Ben & Jerry's PB and cookies, non-dairy ice cream. I mean, I love it, but if I had it every single day, I would get sick of it and you'd have to roll me out of this office. Okay, but let's go beyond engagement. Let's say you want to kick it up a notch and your goal is to delve into your audience's minds so you can make way smarter business decisions. Like let's say you run a corporate catering business and you want to think of a new type of cookie to offer at business lunches. Your poll could say, beyond standard cookies like chocolate chip, what cookie flavor would you like to see at catered business meetings? Lemon blueberry, pumpkin, s'mores, let me know. And you can do even more than just brainstorm new products. You can have a poll that measures your audience's skills or knowledge. Like, are they aware that a certain type of app or certain type of service exists? You can also test creatives like taglines or video titles before you publish them. Or you can ask questions to figure out your audience's biggest pain points. And that's going to help you shape all of your content and even the focus of your business. Just be sure when you ask these types of questions that you don't ask leading questions that suggest that people should answer a certain way, because you want the answers to be as honest as possible. Of course, you can also use polls to show your industry expertise. And in that case, you'll want to do polls that touch on a hot trend in your industry or the biggest challenges in your industry. For instance, AI is a hot topic these days, and here's a good poll from an AI trainer. Which AI chatbot do you use most often? But what if our main goal is to get new leads? Keep in mind that after a poll is published, you'll be able to see who exactly voted for what. Now, the only people who can access this information are the person who created the poll in the first place, or if you happen to put the poll through a company page, the admins of that company page. This information is gold when it comes to qualifying leads. So for instance, I'm running this poll right now. How would you describe your LinkedIn profile? And a good lead for me would be anyone who feels less than amazing about their profile, and I can see who voted for what. Now you might be wondering, how do you follow up with these leads? Well, first of all, the worst thing you should do is immediately launch into a sales pitch, because these people already did you a favor by answering a poll and then you respond by trying to sell to them. That's not going to go well. So instead, I want you to give them something. It could be a tip sheet or an ebook or a white paper or a video link, something that at least partially answers the problem that they identify that they have in the poll. And you want to keep on nurturing a very giving relationship so that you build enough trust to earn the right to ask if they may be interested in your products or services. And what's super, super cool about lead generations with LinkedIn polls is that you don't need thousands of votes. You just need enough leads to have quality conversations. Okay, it's time for our third strategy. You have your GPS on, you've booked your hotel and have tickets for Orlando theme parks, but you won't get to Orlando till you start driving. And it's the same with LinkedIn polls. I'm going to show you right now how to put it all together, along with a few bonus tips, and I'm going to challenge you in the next 2 days to do your own LinkedIn poll. So let's do this. So go to your homepage and at the top, click on Start a Post. And remember that when you click up here, you can control where your post, in this case a poll, is going to go. Now, I normally keep mine at the default, send to anyone on and off LinkedIn, but note that if you want to send your post to a group, this is where you'll do it. Now click on the 3 dots down here and create a poll. Add your question here, then add your first 2 answers here, and then you can add a 3rd and 4th answer by clicking Add Option. Note that you will not be able to edit your questions or answers later, so now's the time to proofread like crazy. Now for poll duration, we have a choice of 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, or 2 weeks. 1 day, in my opinion, is way too short. 3 days is pretty good because you're going to get most of your answers in the first 3 days. Plus, there's a bit of a sense of urgency to it. But if you have a little bit more time and want to get even more responses, 1 week is good. And if you're in no rush whatsoever, then do 2 weeks. Now click Done, but we're not really done. Now here's where you add your caption. And notice down here, if you don't want the poll to go out right away, you can schedule it for a specific day and time. Or if you're totally pumped about the poll and you're just ready to get it out, click Post. But it's still not over. There are 2 more things to cover. First of all, once the poll is published, you can click on the 3 dots and then copy link to post. Now you have a link that you can share on your other social media or in your email signature while the poll is running to direct people back to the poll. Second, once you've collected all your results, how cool would it be to do a separate LinkedIn post that talks about the results and shares your insights about them? It's the type of conversation that makes the LinkedIn algorithm happy. And if you want to learn how to make the LinkedIn algorithm love you so your engagement skyrockets, check out this video in the top right corner. Thank you so much and see you in the next video.